In the world of clickbaits, where Jupiter's exaltation is going to create whatnot, let's talk about what realistically is going to happen with this transit of Jupiter in Cancer. Hi, guys, welcome back to Vedic Astrology. And today we're going to be talking about the transit of Jupiter into the sign of Cancer. Well, this transit is going to happen on 18th of October all the way till 5th of December. Jupiter is going to become retrograde around 11th of November period. And the most important bit for you to understand here is that the movement of Jupiter into the sign of Cancer is happening when it was not supposed to happen. It is happening because Jupiter is in Atichari movement right now, and thereby you are seeing this roughly 45, 48 day period shift in the transit of Jupiter. Now, the important bit for you to note is that Jupiter will become retrograde during this period itself. And thereby, we have to break down the analysis of this transit in terms of how, when it gets into the sign of Cancer for 1 or 2 degrees itself, then becomes retrograde and goes back into the sign of Gemini post 5th of December period, where the impact of it will again be crucial but is out of scope for the discussion of this video. So without further ado, let's jump into the video and understand what's gonna mean for your sign. So Virgos, Jupiter is the lord of your fourth and your seventh house, and he is going to come into its sign of exaltation in Cancer in your 11th house. You have to understand here that Jupiter will be doing maximum to 1 or 2 degrees of movement. Means on 18th of October, it will just slip into the sign of Cancer, will stick here in the direct motion until November of 11th, from which it is going to become retrograde in motion. By December 5th, it will slip back into the sign of Gemini and will stay in the retrograde motion for 4 months, all the way up till March 11th. So, what could be the impact that you anticipate here? First and foremost, you have to realize the fact that he also happens to be the Badhaka for your particular chart, which means that the Badhaka is going to become exalted. But Jupiter is a benefic planet. It is going to bring some degrees of challenges, yet a lot of positive things are also going to be coming into translation thanks to this transit. Now, the fourth lord is going 8 places away, and it is coming into the sign of gains. It is coming into the house of gains, rather, in its exaltation, which means that there could be a sudden increase in your wealth, in your intellectual property, in terms of your growth of your assets, both movable and immovable. This asset could also mean your knowledge could expand. You could get an expansion or appreciation of the assets that you are holding, which could be both your digital assets as well as your physical assets. So you will have to keep a note on that particular front. Now, the fourth lord getting exaltation in the 11th house also could mean that there could be some good news that would come with respect to your mental peace, something that you were aspiring for, that you were chasing, that some satisfaction that you wanted, that is going to come into picture with this transit of Jupiter. It will be a sudden shift that is going to manifest for you. Jupiter is, the fourth house is also representing your emotions. So we talked about the mental peace, but it is also your mother. And that could mean that there could be some growth for my younger audience, your mom, your in your motherland as well. There could be some drastic positive shift coming into picture during this video. Now you have to remember this bit that this might not translate for everyone. So you need to have a good natal dasha, antardasha running in your system, which is like a moon, Mars, sun sort of periods, or even Jupiter for that matter, is going to be especially helpful. Now, if you have a good placement of Jupiter in your birth chart, in your natal chart as well, then too you are going to see positive influences of this transit coming into picture. There is more to talk with respect to the seventh house, because in your seventh house, not only Jupiter is the lord of that, you also have the presence of your fifth and your sixth lord Saturn, which could have brought in a lot of disputes, challenges, disruptions in the last few months since that Saturn has got into retrograde motion. Now you will realize that Jupiter's transit is going to bring some bit of relief. There could be a positive shift that could come in your business relationships, in your romantic or marital relationship as well, because Jupiter is going to give that benefic impact. It is going to give you that logic, that mindset to bring better sustenance in your relationships. You would want to give a positive twist, a positive spin in your relationship, both from a professional as well as personal mindset perspective. So that's a positive angle again coming into picture. However, Jupiter is your Badika planet as well. So, as long as Saturn is remaining in retrograde motion, remember this is crucial bit for you Virgos. As long as Saturn is sitting in retrograde, which is till November of 27th, you could find that this, unnecessary argumentative situations, be it with your business colleagues, be it with your spouse for that matter, or even your loved ones, your relationship, if you're not even married, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, etc., that could see turbulence if you are not if you are being confrontational by nature, if you are unnecessarily creating argumentative situations, because Saturn is depicting your fifth lord as well as your sixth. So that animosity, that negativity of Saturn is going to stick in there. So try and ease out, try and do a softer approach, positive approach, Jupiter oriented approach, knowledge driven approach in terms of addressing your personal and your relationship matters or professional relationship matters as well. That is going to be extremely conducive for you there. Sitting here in the 11th house, you see what is the first aspect which is coming into picture. See, the first bit before we talk about the aspects is that Jupiter is a planet of expansion. So it is going to, help you chase, accomplish your goals, desires, wishes, targets, objectives, whatever you've been chasing, whatever has been on top of your mind, especially related to your, partnerships, your connections, your mental peace or assets perspective. So definite expansion, that is what we've talked about there, but he's giving an aspect towards your third house into the sign of Scorpio. And Mars is going to come into the Scorpio sign from 27th October. Currently, Mars is 12th to itself. So around that time, you will find that your efforts in any direction, your willingness to take up new initiatives, start something big, from a market perspective, stronger communication, or your relationship with your siblings within your neighborhood, in your community, it is going to see a positive spin of things. The other bit is that Jupiter is also giving a debilitated but direct aspect towards your fifth house. So it is going to be a good period especially for students who are watching this video, because if you are putting effort is going to be required. Fifth house again ruled by Saturn until 27th of November, you will be required to put some extraordinary amount of effort in terms of addressing whatever you're chasing. But the good part is that Jupiter is giving an aspect. He is the lord of your knowledge as well. So second to the fourth house is the repository or the translation or the certification of that knowledge. So any kind of education related affairs, any kind of investment related strategies, if done with the right mindset, with extraordinary karma, you know Saturn expects you to rework as well in this retrograde position. You will still be able to accomplish it. Good part is from the second half of this transit, which is from 11th November onwards, Jupiter will also be in retrograde motion. So he will be giving a much stronger aspect to all of these houses, and I'll elaborate more on that in a bit. Then Jupiter sitting here is giving a ninth aspect towards the seventh house. So that concern that we had regarding Saturn's retrogression from 18th of October, at least that will come to a to a certain hold. Between 11th of November till 27th of November, if you are dragging any kind of matters in your relationships, in your partnerships, it can be a concerning period, because this is where it will backfire for you as well. And that can be a very turbulenting period, given that Jupiter is also going to be in retrogression. So you will end up doing some rework, you will end up doing some revisit, and Saturn is also demanding that rework from you. So be cognizant of that particular situation coming in. If your partner, your spouse is asking you to do something, try and be submissive or maybe open to the ideas and collaborate. You can always present your ideas, you can come back with a feedback, but don't get into argumentative situations. Good thing is Jupiter is going to continue to give you that logic. So hopefully that mindset will sustain post 11th of November onwards as well. Now, once Jupiter is becoming retrograded, see, retrograde Saturn is a being a malefic planet, it is a much more worse situation to be in, because that brings a lot of negativities and ambiguities, which I had been alluding. You guys had the eclipse in your lagna, in, if you're watching from a Virgo moon sign perspective, in your first house itself. So the eclipse was also not in great houses in the month of September. But what you will realize now is that with this retrogression, the power of Jupiter is going to increase. He is going to become much more pious or impactful. And that means that the ability to find those gains, superior satisfaction is going to be high. But it might require you to do revisit of activities. And that is where, for the fifth and the seventh house, where those retrograded aspects of Jupiter is going to come into picture, I would want to draw some caution. The last thing I would suggest is between 11th of November till 27th of December, you making unnecessary arguments with your romantic partner, you taking unnecessary risks in your investment strategies. It is not going to be a wise idea. Don't go over the board. Unnecessary argumentative situations with your business colleagues, with your wife, with your spouse, with your husband, whatever the situation may be, in your professional setup, in the marketplace. If you things that can become difficult, take a reconciliation of what your spouse is trying to tell you. But between 27th of November till 6th of or 5th of December, again, once Saturn becomes direct, you will realize that uh, there would have been some kind of a rework, but it will have a positive agreement, positive closure. You will see some satisfaction coming in from your business as well as from your married life perspective, from a social respect perspective. Debilitated aspect towards the sixth, towards the fifth house, and that too retrograded aspect, can be tricky. And this is where, when I said that when you're dragging things, what I mean to say is there could be argumentative situations with your romantic partner. There could be situations where you are in deliberation in your investment strategies. And if that continues, this is where you might have to just go back to square one and restart everything from a relationship, romantic relationship perspective, education perspective. If you're not able to make a final decision, a firm decision as to what is working out in your college admissions, in your preparations of something, new course, new education, new stuff that you have to undertake, there could be disruptions that might come in. So you'll have to be planning around those areas. However, throughout this course, throughout this retrograde motion, the aspect of Jupiter towards the third house is going to be positive. It is going to empower you to work hard. It is going to give you that sanity that, yes, irrespective of what challenges I'm facing, I am required to put that extraordinary amount of effort, and it will only improve your confidence in the long term. So, Virgos, I think this is a decent shift. Again, you have to definitely check your natal dasha, antardasha system as to what is going on, because that will have more of an impact. This transit of Jupiter was not supposed to be happening at this point in time. It is the Atichari movement of Jupiter which has triggered this exaltation. The larger piece of this is what you are going to observe in 2026 from June onwards, when Jupiter is going to come and stay here for a much longer duration. But all in all, I think I see a lot of positive insights coming in for you. The 11th house is the Kama Trikon house, the Kama Trikon house in which this placement is coming into picture, and it should give you some positive material outcomes. If you've enjoyed the effort that has gone in preparing this information and sharing with you, then I request you to please smash on that like button, subscribe to Vedic Astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Mahadev.